Joining me now on set, the parents of Kaylee Gonzalez, Christy and Steve Gonzalez. Thank y'all so much for being with me. You guys have been so transparent and strong for the public. Christy, you called the person that did this the boogeyman.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
So many cryptic sayings in this too.
That's literally weird. Like what nightmares are made of. Like when you're a little kid and you think of the boogeyman, that's just how I feel. Like that's just.
And now I'm thinking back to
that,
how he said that Kaylee used to get pranked by her little brother and the mom about somebody coming to get them, and she would hide under her bed. Well, that's what you do with the boogeyman. Like, so that's a little.
Oh my God, that's so
true. Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
So do you think that Maddie and Kaylee saw what was going on and they ran back upstairs?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I bet they were hiding. I bet that this shit started going down. They ran upstairs and they hid.
That's why Steve said he didn't have to go upstairs. Meaning they might have been in the middle of doing Xana and Ethan, and they didn't have to kill them.
Yep, that's what exactly I said the other night. But I couldn't piece together why the upstairs. And then I thought, well, Dylan and them said they were upstairs already. And they probably tried to stop them from seeing what was going on downstairs after they got home. And then tried to run back upstairs. And then they were next.
And then you know what? That's why we now know from the grand jury transcript, they said everybody got home by 2. But now we find out that's not fucking true.
No.
And nobody can pinpoint when Xana and Ethan got home. And why is that?
Because I think
they were killed earlier. And they don't want us to know that.
2 timelines.
Damn Christ.
That's what I said. They were trying to put them back in the room, and it was 2 different timelines. That's why all their injuries, those 2 and 2, were separate, different. But if you think about it, it could have went down exactly just like that.
And
that's why the Linda Lane audio, and that's why you see them at the grub truck, and you see all the phones go up, and you hear them, Xana, they're watching something. They're watching something.
Why do you think they were calling Jack?
And frantically. Wasn't there also rumors that one of them tried to call 911?
At 3:01 a.m. it's logged in the blotter on the Moscow Big Country, I think it has the blotter. And it was logged in at 3:01 at another frat house.
Jesus
they didn't
Christ.
say what the call was about.
And always in the Moscow police blotter, it says no report, no report, no report.
See, and again, this is why it's nice to get on here and do like the longer form conversations and not just jam everything into a 2-minute video. But tell me that doesn't make way more sense than they were in bed sleeping together. They didn't. And I guess my question is, so what is the benefit of having the narrative? What is the benefit of having the narrative that they were sleeping in the same bed versus they ran upstairs that they were scared? Can
Let
we
me tell
think through this?
I'm going to tell you. Because of the timeline, because if Xana and Ethan were killed first and you heard the chasing going on in the Linda Lane parking lot and the screaming and the yelling at 1:30, around that time, between 1:30, 2:30, you heard a scuffle, you heard yelling. You actually heard somebody yell the name Xana and then no, and all this other shit was happening in the Linda Lane audio. I have it somewhere on my page. That was happening hours before the time that they're alleging these crimes happen. We can't have that timeline because then we can't pin it on this person. So if Maddie and Kaylee were killed first and then Xana and Ethan, now we can have the timeline we want and we can cut off that hour.
So pause.
2 hours.
Pause.
But didn't I say this went down for a few hours with Kaylee and Maddie because they wanted to know exactly what happened, who flushed what, who told who, X was involved. So then what?
But then also they were looking for, that's why the police were saying, if anybody has any information where Xana and Ethan were, because nobody knew their whereabouts between 9:45 and 12:45 or something like that. They
1:45.
were saying 1:45, excuse me. So if you know where they were from these 3 or 4 hours because they had a black hole of information where they were. But suddenly in the PCA, we find out, oh, good news. They were home by 2. Everybody's home by 2. But now we find out that's not true. So essentially, their whole entire evening is shaved off the map, and they just get to pinpoint wherever they feel like it and interject where this comes in. Because you want to know what? They were killed earlier, and a lot more shit went down with them first. And Maddie and Xana walked in on it.
Exactly. And I said that before.
I'm sorry,
because
Maddie and Kaylee. Sorry.
the police could not find any information about Xana and Ethan for all those hours.
They were looking for that information the day before Koberger's arrest. They were putting that out to the public.
And they had said, I don't know how this was. They said that they were all hungry, but according to somebody else, Xana and Ethan had pizza.
That's what I said that in one of my videos. Why would they get DoorDash if they just ate a whole pizza to themselves? That doesn't make any sense. And again, why isn't the DoorDasher running into these people?
So both of you guys get a combined top dog. Sammy, I'll give you it first because you haven't won it yet. And you win.
All right.
You win. Phoenix got her first one the other night. So great job. That was awesome.